Welcome to day 2, track 2. So today the first session is driving business with Kanban, and the speaker is Gopalakrishnan Sriraman. And just a quick brief background about him. Gopal is working as program champion at one of the largest health tech companies in the world. He is passionate in driving delivery excellence through lean, agile, and DevOps practice, and he has 16 plus years experience in IT delivery and transformation experience across global clients, and he has led multiple agile and DevOps transformations in telco, insurance, and health tech domains. A brief about the session. The focus today is on Kaizen and experience. So this is a presentation. It provides an in-depth view on how businesses can leverage the principles of Kanban, a flow-based approach in driving agility at work. And it's a real-life case study, and it explains the nuances and challenges that the organizations can face while deploying large-scale software programs, and how Kanban and other lean agile principles can help accelerate the delivery in bringing the business value faster and better. So thanks and welcome, Sriraman.
Thank you. Good morning. So today I'm going to walk you through one of the real life experience, what we have seen, experienced and learned by innovating our way of working in a large health tech domain. And before I really get into the case study, I would like to share some of the views, and some of it may be controversial, so I don't really expect me to be sued for sharing some stuffs.
Okay, so nothing goes out of this one.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So as such, we had a evolution of project management, an evolution of way of working, and we say, our industry say agile is a pinnacle, it's the solution for all. However, it's a proven fact that more than 42% of agile projects do fail. We love predictability and we expect agile will bring more predictability, more velocity and velocity reliability. However, in real sense, velocity reliability is still one of the most red KPIs in our way of working, in our work. And a velocity reliability does not say anything on the outcome in most cases. You may be green, you may be delivering hundreds, thousands, 5,000s of story points, but end of day, are you delivering business outcomes? That's questionable in many cases. Of course, most organizations onboard to agile, in some shades of agile, say that their cycle times have considerably reduced. However, when you really do a double click, when you do a 5-why analysis or just do a detail, most of the agile companies, organizations are nowhere close to agility. We still have large turnaround time end to end. We kind of close our eyes to become agile only for build, only for test, and we still have a lot of front ending and the end phases still exist. And most of us hopefully recognize this in our experiences. And in the name of agile, we also notice that large projects, we end up delivering bits and pieces, and the bits and pieces delivery still might end up taking months to have a real end-to-end functionality that is usable to the business. And most importantly, the term agile team members, it's a highly misused term. As in one of the very first session, we heard that heart of Kanban is the people. And we expect heroes. When we say agile team, we expect heroes. But do we have the heroes? Or is heroism a recipe for success? It's a recipe for failure. If you stay true lean, heroism is a type of waste. Yes? So And also typically the way our end of day money matters, contract matters, negotiations matters, and the way we at IT, the service industry works. Still, if you see the large service industries, the TCS of the world, the Wipros of the world, they are measured on their margins. They are measured how do they reduce the rate of the billing, or how do you bring the more youngest resources on the table to get your work done. But is it what really creates the generalists and the specialists what we need in Agile? No, there is a huge gap in what we have or what we imagine and what we contract and what we negotiate and what we pay for, right. So this for me is kind of a symbolic representation on the current state of affairs or the current state of agility. And I am sure both these cartoons resonate very well for those who have been in the industry for a while, right. Is the software almost done? Yes, almost. I am just reading it because it is a little hazy, not really readable. So not the final release, blah, blah, blah. Have you even started? The mental stuff is almost done, right. They expect the software is done, but just the mental stuff is done. And you name a company, you name a team, you will see this, right. We are always very good in starting, wonderful in starting, but we go to the 90% and get stuck there, right. Exactly, exactly. And most of the organizations are not different from what we say, right. Very good starters, very good initiative, we start initiatives at the start of the year, but then as we progress, those user stories, those features, in whatever terms, whatever levels of granularity you say, we have this challenge. So how can we change? Because whatever we saw in the first two slides, that is the same what we as an organization from where I come from also experienced, and we were kind of in the crossroads. We wanted to change, we want to deliver stuffs with a highly competitive environment, and whatever we were doing, we were pretty much ordinary, just like any other business in the industry. So couple of thought pointers. How about starting with the end in mind? First we decide where to reach, when to reach, and start our journey. Getting the real work done. When I say real work done, not just the story points delivered, the real end-to-end functionality used by business fit for purpose, done. Real priorities, right. Especially when you are working in a company which is healthcare related, which is gloomed and doomed with lot of regulations, lot of governance, lot of overheads. There are a lot of naysayers, and there is a lot of priorities that mix up. So if we need to figure out, really identify what are the real priorities that need to be done, how do we do it? And yes, how to come out of this watermelon efforts, yeah, I am green. You ask anybody, yeah, my project is green. How do we come out of it and really stay true to the reality and transparency? How do I really first track transparency? Understand where I am in a clear sense, in a global setup, and making incremental success and sustain. Doing all this, how do I get my internal and external customers happy in delivering what I wanted, right? These are the kind of questions we had in front of ourselves. How do we do? What do we do differently to come out of the current set of scheme of things to really get things running in an accelerated fashion? There we hit upon the flow based approach. So as you guys know Kanban, I don't need to really explain. I think we have enough Kanbans in the first two sessions which I heard as well, right? The flow based approach, where we exactly know, when I say we, it is the team, right? You talk about the portfolio level, at the program level, at the team level. At each level, the team knows what is the end state, right? And how do we really deliver and get the business prioritization right. And how do we do this? By bringing the right visual governance and some matrices which are real measurement of working software and measurement of success, not pseudo matrices, right? To do this, in addition to the complexity of the heart, that is the people, right? We need to accept the team comes with varied skills. We work with a lot of partners, and we don't expect everybody to the heroes, and it's not necessary to build heroes, right? So how do we adjust the varied skills, the diversity of resources better, and building the specialists to get work done? So we took the Kanban approach and learn from the best practices of it to see how do we really adopt at the team level, at the program level, with the business, with the portfolios, tying them together so that we are able to accelerate our journey. Thanks to the DevOps handbook, Kanban is again not an individual practice. If you see, it has been evolved and observed across. So thanks to Gene Kim. So the principle of flow. How do we increase the flow, right? Making the work visible, reducing the batch sizes. Again, I need not explain it, but DevOps handbook is a wonderful book which we borrowed some ideas. Reducing the batch size, rather than saying, yeah, this project is big, can we really make them into end-to-end flows, make them themes, and start planning the themes rather than the big puzzle, right? Building the quality in, which is most important, right? Rather than finding your issues and defects at the production and end, how do we really stage gate quality? How do we do a shift left of your quality, applying certain practices? And of course, in that way, preventing the defects from passing from one stage to another. Principle number 2, principles of feedback, right? How do we really engage and get the right feedback early in our whole process? And of course, continuous learning and experimentation, right? You don't really go very big bang. You take incremental steps, flow-based approach, fail, learn fast, and move forward, right? So one of the very recent quote I heard, I think it was from Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. If you are not embraced by looking the first version of the product, you know that your product is launched too late. So if you think about it, with the current dynamics of the environment, it makes a lot of sense, right? Get out of the fear, start experimenting, show the product to your end users, learn from the feedback, so that you don't really create a monolithic failure at the end. You make things that is fit for purpose. So with these learnings and with these thought processes, so I want to introduce my case study, and this case study is again implementation of a humongous ERP system, a backbone for the healthcare organization, which builds the order to cash journey for their entire global operations, right from Japan to US to whatnot, countries where they had operations to. And the problem statement was like this. This company has gone through a lot of mergers, acquisitions, sell-offs, and at some point they had 52 different business backbone systems, very siloed, not talking to each other, and the overall cost for IT was more than 4.5% compared to the industry peers who are spending close to 2% of their overall revenue for IT. So we had a huge pressure on cost, a humongous fragile IT setup. Each department, each country had their own in terms of ERP systems, how they sell, how they fulfill, how they invoice, and we want to do a business transformation to consolidate and build one world class ERP system which is fit for purpose for all the global processes. In that way, it is not just IT transformation, it is also a business transformation in standardizing the processes. You don't imagine, just to give you a little bit of insight, the complexities. To give a credit note to customer, we had 2000 ways and 2000 forms for just one process the way it was given. So, the credit note given to a Japanese customer, the credit notes given to Indian customer or a US customer, we had 2000 plus variants. And in global setup, when you project yourself as one company, you think about the complexity, right. So, we want to really clean up the business processes, get them all onboarded to a standard way of working, standard process, and it is also highly regulated FDA compliant environment, and get the cost of IT right. So, with this we started the journey way back in 2011. Of course, I was not really involved at that start. We initially picked up with the vendor provided methods. We picked up then a kind of a waterfallish approach, a year of blueprinting, then taking it really as silo, build your application for the tiniest market possible to check whether that is working. And in the whole blueprinting phase, we spent a lot of energy. Again, typically we had a partner for doing our blueprinting, a partner for giving us business consolidation and consulting and so on. 3 years we spent, and we did not achieve anything. We had a huge backlog. We were not able to really get the basics right, and all of us were kind of gasped, and also there was a sense of letharginess and giving up attitude that started pricking in, right. And there was basic questions: is it really possible to build one system for the globe? Are we trying to work on something which is very unrealistic? So, such kind of thought processes came in. Then we had a couple of design thinking workshops, breakthroughs, discussions, brought in some lean experts to see, process experts to see what we can really do different. And that is where we started our journey with a lean Kanban. And we started our journey, we decided we have a roadmap, and let us take the biggest market as our first target. So, we kind of shifted our strategy, and the reason is also simple. When we started really working for small markets, every other market had a lot of doubts. My market is different, I am different, what you do in Mexico will not work for me, and so on. But then our leadership kind of decided, okay, we know that there are certain matured markets, US, Canada, China, and if our system works, if our processes works, if our business processes are capable to deliver what we want to deliver in these markets, then these naysayers will actually become the evangelists to get rest moving. So, we changed our strategy, picked up a large market, and first thing we came out, okay, let us just break the puzzle, put a visual governance, right. What do we want to achieve? What are the business processes? Your order to cash, cash to fulfillment, fulfillment to resolution. So, what are the kind of business processes we are targeting? And we kind of got our partner, technology partner SAP also as part of the game, and we built a kind of first visual governance. What is the end state we want to envision for that market, and break that puzzle into the processes, the end-to-end processes, the features, the themes. And we know that, okay, we have some 392 processes to implement by 6 months. Okay, let us then make the next step. So, kind of peeling the onion to really get there, what is that complexity, right. And we also set a target. 9 months is our end state to get this first 2 releases out. So, for this 392 processes, we have 9 months. Put them visually, get the real stakeholders, do your balance, and automatically what we felt humongous, slowly the noodles got untangled, the complexity kind of came on its own out. And we also focused on the minimum viable product, which I do not really need to explain. So, what is the real must, right? Is business okay, or are they come up with some lot of fancy requirements, right? Really peel it out, you have 392 prioritize them based on your priority. What are your must? Take them first in, right? And also get the whole flow principles to the ground. It's not just the program level, right? At the program level, yeah, we have all the features, we kind of prioritize, we have the whole visual governance, but then to the dot your entire organization need to work like that, right? If you have this program actually had some, I think about 14 scrum teams. We were in a kind of an agile mindset as well. So each of the team, are we able to percolate the same sense of urgency, the same flow, thought process in, and build a kind of a assembly line setup. You don't really have an isolated teams, so bring in the flow, bring in the specialized assembly line setup, so that it's more of a pull based mechanism where the work really moves visible, and we are able to track not at the only the program level, but also at the ground, the team levels, whether you are a tester or a developer or whatever you are in your roles. So our journey. So what we started, as I mentioned, we were a very heavy waterfall driven organization, and again I just kept only till 2014 because we also had a little bit more interesting part before that, where we were pretty much effort driven. Our contracts will be, you like it or not, even it was a little, for me also it's a little embarrassing to say, we contract this partner to deliver 1,000 story points per month. Yeah, those were real contracts which we had. If I look at my SOWs of the past, we had the partner is committed for 1,000 story points, and it's a milestone driven. For every 300 story points we are making payment. Yeah, right. So that is the state of affairs, and again we are known for silos, we are known for wonderful silos, right? We have a separate testing partner, a design partner, a build partner, right? So how do we really make them talk to each other, bring them a common language, right? Getting them a common language, common vision. The test partner's KPI is very different from the build partner's KPI, right? So we use kind of Kanban as a glue, right? Yes, you can be a partner A, partner B, partner C, but end of day, this is where we start, right? All of us have certain flows and we need to move. Each one of us might own certain things, but as a team we need to pull and get work delivered, right? It doesn't matter from what partnership you are coming from, what technology you are coming from, right? End of day your work need to reach the destination, it get delivered, used by user. That's only way you pull in, right? This is the IT part, and we also had very interesting discussions with our business partners, right? Of course, if a salesman and if a guy in finance, he doesn't see a value in he spending time with IT, right? For him, yeah, you do all your development in whatever processes you do, agile or waterfall or whatever ABC fall, right? But after 9 months, you call me for 2 weeks, I'll come and bless you, or I'll kick you out. Till then, I don't care. That was a kind of an attitude. But when we really want to increase our flow, when we need to get our feedback loops right, we need them. We need them. Without them, we cannot. So how do we really engage them, coach them, get their buy-in? And that's the model we are, as of today, we kind of moved in, where we are able to engage, if a functionality, if end-to-end functionality is designed, built, completed, it also need to be accepted and pushed to production than the earliest moment, right? If it is just completed and sitting there, it's not value for money. It's added risk, right? So that's where we had our mandate based KPIs, long SDLC cycles, blah blah blah, and we slowly transitioned to where we are today, where we are able to deliver end-to-end features, and the business is part of the team. Of course, are we there? Not yet. Still there are learning curves, but we are almost there. And we are able to deliver value driven delivery, right? We are able to prioritize, okay, what is required, what we can deliver fast with the business, get them out, right? And as of today, a platform like an SAP, we are delivering it monthly to production. We are able to release our SAP functionalities monthly. And if you ask somebody, In the industry, I've seen projects in a team who don't believe it, right? SAP is a kind of a monolith. However, we are able to really chisel down, get our way of working and use Kanban as a method to really drive there, right? And of course, visual governance was the guiding glue and the real change agent which helped us reach where we are today. Unfortunately, due to certain regulations, I am not able to show you the real visual governance boards, we being a validated company, but in essence is when you really put your boards out, right, it's a very simple cultural aspect. You know, the power of visual governance, the power of flow, it's very cultural, it's very personal, I would say, right. If I see my name there, I know that I have an action there, right. I can be a delivery manager, I can be a CXO, CIO, whatever designation, you know, it's a human psycho, right. At the program level, if the business for the BPO, there is a business process owner, if there is a feature waiting for him and on a periodic cadence, when we look at that visual governance board, he has that obligation to really work on it and get it moved. That's the power of pen, right. It might be very simple, but it works like a charm. In whatever grades, whatever designations, whatever caps you wear, right, the power of pen is very powerful, which in turn comes with the sense of ownership, right. When I start, do I have a commitment? You know, it is me as a product owner, I need to drive this journey across the stage. With that sense of ownership, we are able to create that sense of urgency and drive it, right. We know the end date, all of us know it's very visual. We know that if things are all staging in the first line, we know that we are lagging. We are not going to reach there in 9 months, right. And of course, it's very easy for us to hide between the emails and PowerPoints. Very tough, very tough. And it cannot be done overnight. You need to build the confidence of your folks. You need to take them along, right. The moment you put a punishment and reward system, this fails. This fails. So you need to be, it's a very sensitive topic, you need to handle it with care, right. How do you really make them accountable, but at the same time not put pressure on them? Exactly, exactly. That's where, you know, the whole lean concepts of, you know, the daily management really trickles in. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the daily management culture, right. You know, you put your KPIs, you put your corrective actions and pull the hand on when things goes wrong, and it's okay. So there is always a scrum master or a Kanban coach who is there to help you get there going, right. The very difficult part for each one of us is to raise our hand and say, I don't know. That is of course true even today, right. That's where we need to really create those leaders at each levels. You know, whoever the coaches, the scrum masters or the Kanban masters or the program managers we are creating, they need to really change their mindset of asking questions, change their mindset of looking at things, right. So initially we also had a lot of challenges, which anyway I'll talk in the next slides, but the moment you start with visual governance, the very first set of KPIs were designed such a way they can never go red. They can never go red. Release on time was a wonderful KPI. A release happens on time. Yes, we are green, but what is released? What did we commit? Did that get released? What was the quality of that release? There doesn't come in the release on time KPI, right? So, of course, you know, when you start, you pick up some KPIs which, you know, as a room, if we have a target, we are comfortable with, right? And those KPIs, 99% chance they will be reported green, but you slowly challenge yourself, find your leading indicators, right? When you put a KPI, most of the time we also pick up a lagging indicator KPI. So find your leading indicator KPIs which can really catch you, which can be really tied to the success of the objective, right? And start measuring them in that process as well, right? So again, yeah, Key things, no hiding and team coming together and ensuring that the fear-free environment, and of course, we need to have, what we also learned is, initially there is also, some people take it, it's a flow system, it comes from mechanics and industrial aspects, let's just focus and forget to celebrate, right. It's all, then it becomes so high pressure environment, yeah, we have 9 months, run, should we celebrate only after 9 months? No, right, we also need to find some moments, which we kind of learned to see how we can celebrate minor successes, smaller successes and move on, so that we as a team come together. So, what did we do or what did we achieve? Making work visible, it solved half of our problems, right. I know that I need to go catch a flight to maybe Kathmandu. I keep saying I need to catch a flight to Kathmandu. It's a big problem for me, I don't know, there is a direct flight, blah blah blah, anything, right, it's a big problem. But the moment I put on the table and say, okay, what are the 3 steps I need to do to reach there, my problem is really solved, right, at least I know what to do to reach there. That is the first step of problem solving, right. You define the problem, you also find what are the steps required to reach there. So, making work visible, that helps get things done. Bringing sense of ownership and urgency, right, and this especially matters at the program and portfolio level, right. At the team level, yeah, we have partners, we have more of individual developers, we are able to chase, put some contracts, tie them to some penalties, so, etc. But how do you really get this sense of urgency? How do you really get this sense of ownership within your organization, at your program level, at your CX level? Because just like any other programs, this is not an individual program, right, it's an entangled program across multiple programs, right. When we are having an SAP system, we have an Hybris, which is a front-end order taking system, and we have a F2P planner system, right. We have hundreds of systems in between, and it can never get success if we don't work as a team and get that sense of urgency to our peripheral systems as well, right. So, bring that sense of urgency, making decisions faster. Again, visual governance, daily management really helped us there. So, when we say this issue, yes, no action, okay, next time we meet, no action, third time we meet, no action, then there is a problem, right. So, again, very difficult, very sensitive to handle, but if we can really get the procrastination visible, and especially when you are working, again I do not want to get sued here, but there are organizations, there are cultures who say and feel that we are a consensus based organization, right. American cultures are a little easier to handle in this sense, right, it is too direct, but most of the time, in European cultures, if you see, it's a consensus based, but yeah.
Well, this may be a little bit derogatory, but I heard from one of my German managers, democracy is the worst form of governance.
Could be, it's all opinions, we respect all opinions, right. So, there are cultures who want the last man in the row to get convinced to get a decision, then it's impossible, it's simply impossible, right. So, how do we handle that? How do we make it visible and say, okay, enough is enough, let's move on, let's fail, let's move on, let's fail and let's get up and run again, right. And left shift dependencies, left shift is very powerful and it applies universally, right. When I say left shift, again, we have a lot of work, we always, as a program manager, as a CX, as a developer, I cherry pick the easiest thing, the most comfortable I have, right, that is not really prioritization. If I have an end-to-end feature, I have 10 end-to-end features, we had seen in many cases 80% of user stories of all those 10 end-to-end features are delivered, but those 2 or 3 user stories which are complex, which are dependent on somebody, which are product enhancements, just stays there, till the last sprint of your release. Same with dependencies. Yeah, this is dependent on the other team. We need to wait for them to deliver. We need to wait for them to deliver, right? So most of the time, in a typical what we have seen or what I have seen is the top risks, which ideally on paper should be attacked first, shifts to the right, closer to the end date, and then we end up chasing whether can we avoid those risks, can we go live without those functionalities. Such kind of discussions pop up from an IT mindset to make the release green. However, for business that doesn't matter, right? So it is essential left shift dependencies. If you identify dependencies, if you identify things, can we really left shift them so that we reduce the risk in the later part? So that was another interesting learning. And of course, a lot of challenges. We need business because it's a business transformation and we need to get hold of them. And we need to have confidence when we say that we are applying flow based principles, right, with the end in the mind. We should have the enablers, right? When I say enablers, is it automation, is it automated code quality, is it DevOps principles and practices, right? Am I having the right reusable assets so that if I am able to deploy SAP to a production every month, am I able to do a regression test of end-to-end functionality? Do I have a regression automated, right? I need to build those automation, otherwise I am not able to do it. And of course, scaling and governance. When you drive for a global organization with distributed teams, you need the tool sets, you need the application levers which can speak the same language, the collaboration tool sets like Rally or Azure or Slack or whatever, right? And continuous testing and user acceptance, you need a balance, right? And that balance need to be the real balance. When I say the real balance, it is impossible to test 100% test coverage. So you need to find some risks. You need to take those risks, learn from it, improve yourself to reach a right level of validation, right level of testing and user acceptance. And requirement granularity, the way business defines requirements, that also need a relook. The whole requirement architecture and engineering also need to support the flow based systems. If you are building a humongous monolithic requirements and be adamant that things I need anything or nothing or everything, it won't work, right? And of course, the most important, getting your team motivated, building the right RNRs, the rewards and recognitions, right? So these are some of the challenges which we learned. We were able to, I won't say we are perfected, we are on the journey to get perfected so that we are able to build, deliver. And of course, some more learnings. Major important thing is building a positive culture with a sense of urgency without really finding fault, putting the pressure, getting it done, getting the feedback loops. So this is basically what I as an individual learned from this experience, and we saw how not just agile, when I say agile it's an umbrella term like the scrum, but how do we really bring the flow based principles, the Kanban principles with a common sense across levels to improve our way of working and deliver value to business. Okay, we transformed in multiple tools in the whole journey, but yeah, the latest we are in a Microsoft stack, Azure DevOps with Microsoft Teams, and little customization. But yeah, at some point we were in TFS and Rally as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about the metrics, right? Now you're at value delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get that across to the delivery teams? Like, because it's okay for business to understand value delivery. So what metrics do you use from the delivery team?
Okay, that's where one thing, end of day it's a business satisfaction and the scores, what we value, right, for every release. Second, the delivery team should also understand the business KPIs, right? IT KPIs can no longer be very different from the business KPIs.
We don't even business API and map it to our
You need to marry. Yeah.
Just to add to her question on the value-driven approach, especially in the program that you mentioned, which was a global program of transforming business along with IT systems. See, at the smaller or the specific single product level, the value driven can be subjective sometimes, where they can order it in terms of priority, and as a team can come to consensus. But in case of that's global deployments or global transformations, it has to be objective.
It has to be.
Objective. But how it was defined in the objective manner in that case?
Okay, so let me go to a very IT example. Yeah, as I said, we are consolidating some 50 systems, transforming ourselves, moving there, right? Whatever you say, end of day, the objective KPI is money, right? It's a money savings, right? In this sense, are we able to really migrate all the users of that organization, of that department to the new platform? Are we able to sell the same amount of orders? Is the order turnaround time still stays same or lesser after migration from this to this? Or are the end users struggling to place their orders? Are they doing the order entry first time right? And lastly, are we able to decommission the system that we are supposed to replace, right? So this, if you see, they look like IT, but they are actually business KPIs, right? When we are consolidating, putting a greenfield system and helping them migrate their journey, transform their business process from the old to new, right? First thing, are we able to achieve the benchmark what we had, the 3-month average of order intake, are we able to get there? And is the order cycle time still running same, right? Is our logistics providers are able to service the same way as they were able to deliver earlier for the order intake process? And of course, finally, are we able to decommission and shut that system who people don't care anymore, right? These are the kind of business sense KPIs which we need to tie to IT and make our IT program managers and IT delivery managers also accountable, right? If we start measuring the success of software through business KPIs, then you are there. That's also a big difference. Right? Yes, sir.
For the wonderful experience from tough challenges to reaching my question is related to the visual support. Practicing from the program level or digital level. In a distributed environment, physical boards, how do you manage to showcase to the rest of the
Yeah, so the granularity matters, right? You know, at most of my business colleagues are in Netherlands, in our corporate offices, right? So for us, the end-to-end features, functionality matters, right? However, for the Scrum teams or the Kanban teams, for them, the user stories, the tasks that matters, right? You need not have a monolithic board with your end-to-end features, user stories, tasks across in one place. That's not really true Agile in that sense as well, right? So at the program level, you have a feature-based Kanban board, a flow board, where we are able to track the features attached to the releases. But at the team level, those features are further broken down into user stories. For each team, they have their own visual board, which is more of a user story based or the one down based, which they track it. And of course, they roll up. So when you really get scale, you need to find a way, how do you really structure your boards as well? Because it's simply not possible. Otherwise, you know, you need a beautician and a design architect in every location to do that. That's not the intent, right? So how do you really simplify a visual governance at each level, program level, portfolio level, team level, and how do you apply and cascade? We use digital boards. We use digital boards which basically are, you know, Azure or Rally kind of tools provide. The portfolio board is maintained at one location. The program board is maintained by the program team where they sit, and respective teams, they maintain their digital boards. Yeah? And of course, you know, again, our implementation is not just user stories as well. As I'm sure, you know, most of the guys who had worked in a large SAP kind of implementations knows, I'll take one more minute, right? There are a lot of non-software activities also, or non-coding activities as well. Your cutover, your preparation, your end user training. So those also need to be coming in the same visual governance, right? If you have a deployment, those are more success factors than the real code, right? Your data migration. So it's end to end. It's not just the user stories and stuffs, right? I think the time is also up for me. So thank you. For any questions, please let me know. Happy to help.
Probably I will have to ask you a lot of questions to you.
Sure.
I know the session is, but what you are doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
Case study and also highlighting the aspects of flow. So I request Sarabji to just felicitate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.